Bow Wow, what's good?
What up, Vlad? What's poppin'?
First time actually us doing a face-to-face interview.
I know.
We've interviewed you before for Sneaker Watch.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
for
at
sure.
GB's.
Yeah, sure.
But this is the first time me and you actually sitting down.
One-on-one. You're right. You're right.
Definitely a pleasure.
Nah, for sure. We came a long way.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So at what point did, you go from just wanting to be a rapper and, writing rhymes in your house to, okay, something's actually happening, people are interested in me, I might get a record deal, that type of thing?
For me, it probably started at no bullshit. At 5, I knew what I wanted to do.
5 years old?
5, I knew what I wanted to do.
Okay.
What's crazy was I wanted to be a comedian at first.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's what happened naturally at first. From that, it became imitating people. Then, my mom's, she would always just play like, hip hop and just rap throughout the house, you know what I mean? So, trying and wanting to be a comedian, I just started imitating what I was hearing. So I would pick up things like a brush or a remote control for a mic or, things that symbolize a microphone, and then it was just like, boom, it was on. It wasn't until I got on stage at the Chronic Tour with Snoop and Dre, and they started throwing money on the stage and shit, then that's when my mom knew, like, okay.
Like, how old were you on the Chronic Tour?
I was 5 years old on the Chronic. I was my daughter's age on the Chronic Tour.
How does a 5-year-old get on stage at the Chronic Tour? Like, what led up to that?
No lie, my mom had got some tickets. I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and the Chronic Tour I stopped through, and my mom seen what I was doing around the house, and she was just like, at that time my name was Kid Gangsta because I was a kid and I loved gangsta rap, NWA.
Your first name was Kid Gangsta?
Yeah, Kid Gangsta.
Okay.
All I would listen to was West Coast music, like nothing else. It was just West Coast heavy influence. And then, my mom got these tickets and she was like, I'm gonna take them. I got a young mom, so she was like, this would be dope. And just so happened that AJ Johnson at the time was the tour host. So during the intermissions, he was, playing with the crowd in the audience. He was like, yo, somebody wanna come on stage and kick some shit? Like, who wanna come? In front of like 21,000. So I'm in the middle of the audience. My mom, they hold me up, like, pick the kid. And they picked me. AJ picked me. I go up on the stage, I start busting. The whole crowd start throwing money on the stage. And then they was like, who the fuck's on the stage out there? And then that's how the word got back. And then, Snoop, and then was like, bring the little dude to the back.
Okay.
And it was history from there. And they said, what we gonna do? We gonna put him on the tour. We gonna rename him, because on the tour I was Lil Snoop. And then Snoop was like, nah, he a son I never had, but he's a spawn of me. So if I'm the big dog and I'm Big Bow Wow, we gonna name him Lil Bow Wow. So he is Lil Me, but instead of Lil Snoop, we gonna call him, Lil Bow Weezy. That's gonna be his name.
Okay.
And after that, it was on.
So what was it like being a 5-year-old, suddenly being thrown on stage and meeting Snoop and everything else like that?
It was crazy because I was so young, I really didn't know what was going on. I remember asking my mother, like, did they boo? Because, when it was so much money, like, being thrown on the stage. From every direction. The only thing I'm thinking, I'm like, motherfuckers throw shit at you on stage, you getting booed. But it was love, and I remember just picking up all the money. You know what I mean? I swear to God, like it was yesterday, I remember just picking up all the money. And what they did was, it was crazy. My mom allowed me to go on that tour alone. My mom had to work, and I spent a lot of time with Snoop's background singer, my bad. And she pretty much, told my mom, like, I got him. I got him. If you need anything or whatever the case may be, you just call me and let me know. My mom let me go.
Right, because when you look back on that situation, most moms would have been like, no, I'm not gonna let my 5-year-old go with a bunch of strangers, no relatives, everything else like that.
Death Row Records too at the time.
Death Row Records, which has a reputation to this day. It's so interesting how your life could have gone a completely different, separate direction, because if she didn't allow you to go on that tour, you might be working a regular job right now, talking about, oh man, I was on stage back when I was 5. Like, yeah, okay, man.
Nah, you're right. Or
you've had too much to drink.
Or I would have panned out and been on Death Row and probably would have been a whole nother artist from what the world, knows me for now. I probably would have been gang banging and just, all kind of shit, because I was 5. They had me. I was influenced by everything that I see. And that's all it was around Death Row at that time.
Okay, so being, you were young, you were only 5 years old, and I'm sure you're being shielded from a lot of stuff, but what was some of the craziest stuff that you saw as a 5-year-old being on that tour?
I remember just being in the studio, and I don't even think it's sessions. Like, it's crazy when you can walk in the room and you can see Snoop Dre, the Dog Pound, in one room. You can leave out one room, Pac in one room working. I remember sneaking into Pac's booth one time. Me and Snoop's background singer's son. We wanted to get a closer glimpse. You feel me? We actually got in the vocal booth and was just watching him. You know what I mean? Just things like that. Just the 90s era of just hip hop period, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not too many artists today can say that they even lived or saw that period. They might have been fans of the music of that period, but I was actually in the mix. I just remember just a million dogs, pits running around the studio, loose. I mean, it was, you had to bring your shit around there. You know what I mean? If it was whack, you definitely gonna get told. I mean, it was, Suge had that shit tight. He wanted the best out of everybody, including myself. I remember Corrupt writing my first rap ever. And if I play that shit for you, at 6, I don't think I cursed that much in my life. Okay. Ever, you know what I mean? So I definitely remember that. I definitely remember Corrupt writing my first record ever on Death Row. It was supposed to be on the Murder Was a Case soundtrack, no bullshit.
Okay.
And it ended up not making it, and they ended up putting it like on the Death Row Greatest Hits album. And it's on YouTube. I listen to the record every now and then. It's crazy hearing me talk about the shit that I was talking about in those verses.
So you're 5 years old, you go on the Chronic tour, you're hanging around everyone at Death Row, Tupac, Dre, Snoop, everything else like that. Yeah. But you end up not signing to Death Row.
Right.
And why is that?
Snoop, the reason why we didn't stay on Death Row was predominantly it was Snoop. I was Snoop's protege. At that time, Snoop was going through, once Dre left, then Dogg was stuck there. He was going through his battles with the label and, trying to figure out what he was going to do in his career. He didn't want that to overshadow me. The whole time he had me, he felt like this kid is going to be like a superstar, but I just got to put him with the right person because the shit that's going on around here at Death Row is no place for no kid at all.
Right.
And it's kind of like, the star that I know he can become, I don't believe that this is the right system for him to shine like that. I don't want to hear him talking about gangbanging. I don't want to hear him, and that's what's gonna happen because on the label, when you had Malik and you had all of them motherfuckers was hard. You know what I mean? We're talking about 13, 14-year-olds, hard.
Yeah.
So he seen what they did with them, so he didn't want me to follow suit. So for him, it was like, I know the one person I can call and put him with, and everything gonna be everything, and that's Jermaine. And Snoop had relationships with Criss Cross, and so he knew. Brat was heavily West Coast influence. If you pay attention to Chris and Chris, once they got older, how they was rocking the flannels and they was West Coast out. That was because of the culture. They'll be out here hanging out with Dogg. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like he knew already. Oh, let me call the homie JD. This is gonna work. And it's been years since Jermaine had a young artist really like that. So once they made that move, it was like, it worked.
So you got introduced to Jermaine Dupri, and was it like instant, like, okay, yeah, I want to work with him, or did it take a little while?
Yo, I didn't even know who the fuck Jermaine was.
Okay.
No lie.
Right, because Jermaine was more behind the scenes.
Exactly. Yeah, he was, but Jermaine was seen though. Jermaine was one of them all in the videos.
Dancing.
You know what I mean? Dancing for real. Yeah, JD, he was dancing. Houdini, motherfuckers. But it's
he was a backup dancer.
Yeah, he was a dancer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I remember my mom, right? This was after the whole Death Row shit. I go back to Columbus. I go back to regular school for like a year, right? I'm loving it. I'm on the football field. I'm loving it. I'm playing for Reynoldsburg Junior High School and all that. My school. And my mom come down on the fence. And she like, yo, we going to Atlanta tomorrow. I'm pissed. I'm like, for what? It's like, we're going to go meet with Jermaine Dupri. And at that time, I was signed to Epic at that time.
Oh, so you already had a record deal?
Yeah, I had a deal. I had a deal. Steve Perdome signed me, and who is still like in my life to this day. And he played a big part in getting me to Jermaine from Snoop, because Steve Perdome and Snoop were cool. And I just remember my mom telling me, we going to Atlanta tomorrow. And I was just really, really pissed because I felt like I gave it a shot. It ain't worked. I spent 4 years in LA. fuck it, I'm gonna just go back to being a kid and doing it like this. And then when she told me who it was, I didn't know who he was. I needed to see the face of the name. And she said, he found Crisscross. Right then, I was like, I really don't want to meet dude. Because growing up, I didn't like Crisscross. Because I always felt like that was my spot. You know what I mean? That was supposed to be me. You know, at 5 and 6, that's how I felt. And it wasn't until I got down to Atlanta. I remember checking into the Hyatt Hotel in Buckhead, Jay-Z in the lobby. This when Money Ain't a Thing is like on fucking fire.
Right, that was the Jay-Z Jermaine Dupri collab.
There you go. Then that night they had a show, and I remember just sitting in the room all day, and I was pissed at this dude. I mean, Jermaine flew me in, had me sit in the hotel room all fucking day, and he pulls up in his black Bentley, and then when I saw his face, I said, I know exactly who dude is now. And the first question I asked Jermaine was, what kind of car is this? Why I got a B on it? You know, he was like, nah, that's a Bentley. I'm like, man, I ain't never heard of that shit before. I ain't never seen no car with just a B on it. Like, this shit crazy. And I kind of, from there, it was just, you know, that's pretty much where Bow Wow really spawned from. I came to him ready, but I learned a lot from Jermaine, a lot from JD.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people don't give Jermaine enough credit.
They don't.
Because he really is one of the musical geniuses.
Yeah.
In R&B, hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, one of the big creative forces behind Mariah Carey.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this guy sold hundreds of millions of records.
Always gets overlooked. We talk about that all the time. Why we get overlooked like that at times, and we know why.
Why?
It could be for personal reasons. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes got egos. It can stem from girls. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this dude feel like he on fire, he's hot, he's super on fire, or whatever the case may be, and then, you know, one little thing could trickle that. But you might even have more success than me, but one little thing could make you not fuck with me or make you not really like me. I bring it to Jermaine's attention all the time. I can't stand when I watch, like, you know, all the big wigs in the game and they run down all these Leors and they run down all these names and they always skip over Jermaine. I always ask him, I'm like, JD, man, what the fuck? Like, that should be pissing me off. Like, I really don't be liking that shit. And he'd be like, nah, it's cool, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
They not supposed to like me. It's been like that since day one. It's cool, I accept it, but we really know why, though. It's a lot of jealousy. It's a lot of history, a lot of things that have transpired to where, you know, it make them not really like JD, but you gotta fuck with him because he an icon, he a legend. So
you signed to So Def?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's still under Epic?
At that time, everything had switched to Columbia, so it was So Def Columbia.
Columbia,
yep.
But it was still the same.
Epic, Columbia,
company.
Sony, it was all in it. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Just got upstream, basically. Okay, so you guys work on your album. How long did it take to actually put the whole album together?
My first album, it took forever. JD wanted to go shopping all the time. He wanted to take me to Lenox Mall all the time. I'm like, this shit cool, but like when we get in the studio, I remember asking him that all the time. Like, yo, when we getting in the studio? That's all I wanted. I'm like, this shit cool, but I just really want to be in the lab. My first album, Beware of Dog, it took us 3 weeks.
2-3 weeks.
All my albums I ever done.
Okay.
All a month or less.
Okay.
All of them.
Jermaine Dupri did all the music?
My first album, Jermaine produced. Second album, Jermaine and Pharrell produced. Third album, no Jermaine Dupri at all.
Okay, so first album, Jermaine does the whole thing. 2-3 weeks later, you guys put it together. You put it out, and it goes how many times platinum? Triple platinum. That's the plaque we see right behind you here.
But we started off at 20,000. I sold 20,000 records the first week.
First week?
Yeah, first week I sold 20,000 records.
I mean, right now 20,000 ain't bad, but back then 20,000 was horrible.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, let's just cut our losses. Usually, most labels at that point would say, okay, let's cut our losses and move on to something else.
Yeah.
So what made the label say we got something here?
Oh
even though
my
it's
God.
20,000?
It was the star power. No bullshit.
Okay.
It was something that they never seen since NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. But we talking about a black boy. You know what I mean? This shit ain't never, before Bieber.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my little partner, but the shit that I was doing when I was a teenager when I first came out was ridiculous.
Right, and you were how old when the first album came out?
13.
Okay.
Stuck on malls. Like, fucking chased out. We stuck on top. We can't get down. Because it's the only way we can get out the store is to climb out the exit. Like, this shit was real. And I think once the label saw the shit, like, yo, he's getting shut down, we making news, kids getting hurt, to the label, they like, wait a minute.
Okay.
We got some special shit. There's no one in the, he's not in a group. He's just one person.
Yeah.
This is unheard of. He's like the little Michael Jackson all over. Like, the shit was crazy. Girls crying and fainting. They knew it was something special.
It's funny that you say that because I remember getting into a conversation with Free, you know, formerly of 106 Park.
Yeah.
And I asked, you know, who was the biggest reaction you've ever gotten as a guest on 106 and Park? She said Bow Wow. Bow Wow. She said that the reaction was like Michael Jackson. She said people lost their shit. Like little girls crying, screaming, passing out. Like it was like on another level.
It was. It's not even saying, oh, I was Michael, or no way, shape, or form, but it was just the comparisons. It's like, you know, the hair too. It's like when we watch Kobe, it's like you think Jordan. We know he's not Mike, but damn, it's a lot of things that resemble that. You know, he's not here no more. He doesn't play, so we will accept this. And it was, you know, it was just the feigning. It was the crying. They knew, yo, this dude has some shit going on that no one has. And if we can just keep pounding, keep working, keep his ass on that road, get him on the tour, it's gonna grow. And this shit went from 20,000 to 100 to the Grammys with Madonna, and then we have 300. From 300, we go on tour, now we got 600,000. We gold, then we platinum. Then once we hit 1 million, the shit just kept, it was steamrolling. It was rap. Then I went on tour. The first tour I ever did, a lot of people don't know this, was NSYNC. Me as Bow Wow, like off this first album, it was Bow Wow and NSYNC. I was opening up for NSYNC at 13 years old.
Right, and for people that don't know, at the time NSYNC was like
God.
Rihanna?
Bigger
Bigger than Rihanna.
The No Strings Attached tour? Motherfuckers came down with the ba with the puppets. Man, that shit was real. Man, we did that. We opened up for them. You feel me? And that shit was crazy. And then that just did it.
Okay. So you're 13 years old.
Yeah.
You've sold 3 million albums. You're opening up for the biggest group on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, what does that do to a 13-year-old's ego?
Absolutely nothing. It does nothing. Because the only thing that I was concerned about was being a kid. You know, when I remember the label would come up and present me with these plaques. I remember Jermaine like, man, you gotta take a picture, man. I'm like, man, but I wanna like, man, just shut your ass up there and take this damn picture. All right, cool, I'm about to ride off. Like, I'm riding off. I just wanna be a kid, you know what I mean? You see, when I got the call to even go meet Jermaine, I didn't wanna go. I wanted to continue to play football. Even when I was at this age, I never stopped being a kid. Never stopped being a kid. That was more important to me. And throwback jerseys was way more important than selling records. I had no clue what this shit meant. I had no clue what that meant.
Well, because you didn't really know what money meant back then.
Yeah, I'm like,
okay,
cool. Where's the fans? Where's the stage? Where's the girls? Where's the Michelin S throwback jerseys?